Hello. I'm sorry. I thought you might have been my son coming home late again. He never rings the bell properly. He just bangs on the door or walks in without saying anything. But you're... Oh, dear. Your eye. Please don't stand out there like that. No. Whatever you came here to say can wait. Just step in for a moment. I can't let a boy with a bruise like that stand in my doorway while I pretend everything is normal. Come sit down. Right here at the table. I'll just get something warm. You don't have to explain anything right now. Just hold still for me. There. Let me just dab around it gently. It looks painful. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much. I know, I just get nervous when someone shows up hurt like this, especially a boy your age. Here, sip this juice. It's fresh. I made it earlier. I wasn't expecting guests, but I don't mind at all. I don't get many visitors, so you're not bothering me one bit. Now, breathe for a minute. Let yourself settle. There's no rush. You came with a book, didn't you? I saw you holding it when I opened the door, but I didn't give you a chance to say anything before dragging you inside. Just put it down for now. I'll look at it once you're comfortable. You're from my son's school, aren't you? I recognize the uniform. It's the same one he wears, though he always forgets half of it somewhere. I'm just trying to understand how you ended up here, how you ended up with that bruise, and why you came all this way holding his book. But you don't have to tell me instantly. You can take your time. You can stay as long as you need. I'm not sending you back out like this. Not until I understand what happened. Not until I know you're all right. All right, now that you're sitting properly and drinking something, you can tell me whatever you were trying to say at the door. This book, let me see it. Yes, this is definitely my son's handwriting on the inside cover, so he must have left it behind at school again. He never pays attention to his own belongings. He rushes out of the house, rushes back in, barely looks at me, barely talks, barely sits still long enough to have breakfast. But you came all the way here to return this, which is very kind of you. Though I imagine there must be another reason too, because you wouldn't walk to someone's house with a bruise like that unless something pushed you out of your normal routine. So tell me slowly. You said he didn't come to school today. That doesn't surprise me. He skips often. He wanders. He disappears for hours. I've tried to understand him for years, but he's become more distant as he's gotten older. But your eye, your face. You mentioned he bullies you, didn't you? I want to make sure I heard you clearly. Yes? All right, I understand. Please don't lower your voice. It's all right. I'm listening. So my son is the one who's been hurting you. That bruise, that's because of him? I see. I'm not going to interrupt you. Just keep talking. Tell me what he does, how long it's been going on, what he says, how he behaves around you. I want to hear everything, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it makes you nervous to say it in front of me. You took a risk coming here if he's the one who's been hurting you at school. I appreciate your honesty, and I want you to know that you're safe here, no matter what you tell me. I'm not angry at you for saying these things. I just need to know the truth.
So he targets you regularly. He corners you, pushes you, mocks you, takes your things, and no one stops him. And today he wasn't at school, so you didn't expect to find him here either. You only came because of the book, and because you're a good boy who wanted to return something that didn't belong to you, and instead you ended up sitting here in my kitchen with a bruise my own son caused. I hear you, I understand, and I want to tell you something, not as an excuse, but as an explanation you deserve. His father left years ago, when my son was still very small, too small to understand why someone would walk out without saying goodbye, without sending a message, without ever coming back. And since then, he's been angry. Not loud angry, not screaming angry, just hollow angry. He drifts, he avoids me, he avoids everyone. He carries something heavy but refuses to hand any piece of it to someone who could help lighten it. He leaves early, comes home late, sometimes not at all, and the house stays quiet no matter how long I keep the lights on. I know it's not your responsibility to care about any of this, but you asked, and I want you to know I'm not blind to the reality of what he's become. I'm sorry that you are the one who gets hurt, because he doesn't know where else to put the pain he's been carrying since he was a child. I'm not asking you to forgive him. I'm not asking you to understand him. I'm only telling you what I know. And I'm telling you that you didn't deserve any of it. Not one moment, not one bruise, not one insult. And now that you're here, I'm going to make sure you are cared for properly, even if he never learns how to treat people the way you should have been treated all along. I'm glad you're still sitting here. You didn't try to get up or leave, even though all of this must feel strange. Sitting in the house of the boy who hurts you, talking to his mother, letting me fuss over you like I've known you for years instead of minutes. And you're being so patient, so calm, even though I can tell you're not used to someone taking care of you like this. You keep touching the bruise lightly, as if you're trying to check if it's still there. But don't worry, it will fade, and until it does, I'll make sure it doesn't swell any further. And if it does, you can always come back here and let me check it again. I don't mind, really. Having someone to sit with, someone who talks, someone who doesn't treat this house like a place to just run through without acknowledging it. It's different, but in a good way. And about my son, I want you to understand that I'm not going to defend what he did, not for a second, but I'm also not going to pretend I don't see the root of it. He thinks that if he doesn't hurt first, then someone else will hurt him. And he learned that from watching his own father walk out without a second thought. I tried so hard to keep him steady, to keep him gentle, to keep him from building walls so high no one could reach him, but I must have failed somewhere because he started pushing away everything that felt like connection, including you, even though he doesn't even know you. But you didn't do anything wrong. You're not the reason he's like this. And I want you to know that you're allowed to stay here as long as you want. You don't have to rush away. Not tonight.
You know, when I first opened the door and saw you standing there with that book and that bruise, I thought maybe something terrible had happened to both of you. Maybe a fight, maybe an accident, maybe something that had brought you both home hurt. But the truth turned out different, and I can handle the truth as long as you keep being honest with me. And now that you've told me everything, I want you to speak freely, without hesitating, without worrying that you'll offend me or upset me. I'm past the point where someone telling me the truth can hurt me more than life already has. So, if you have more to say about how my son treats you, or how long this has been going on, or how it made you feel walking into school knowing he was waiting to corner you again, then say it. I'm listening. And while you talk, just keep drinking your juice. It's there for you. I can refill it if you want. I have more in the fridge. And if you're hungry, I can warm something up or give you more snacks. It's no trouble at all. It's nice, actually, to take care of someone who doesn't push me away, who doesn't roll their eyes when I speak, who doesn't look past me like I'm made of air. You're easy to talk to, and that surprises me because I didn't expect to feel comfortable around someone I had never met before today. But here you are, sitting in my kitchen, letting me look after you, letting me hear your story, letting me understand you in ways even your teachers probably haven't bothered to. And that means something to me, more than you know. I want you to understand something clearly. You are not a burden to me. Not for a moment, not for a second, not in any part of this conversation. You didn't force your way in. You didn't demand anything. You didn't come here asking for pity or attention. You simply came to return a book, doing something responsible and kind, even though you were hurting, and even though the person you were returning it to has caused you nothing but trouble. And somehow that small act has turned into this moment where you're sitting in my home and I'm realizing just how long it has been since I've had a real conversation with someone who wasn't angry or distant or disappointed or silently passing through the rooms like a shadow. You asked me why my son behaves the way he does, and I told you about his father leaving. But what I didn't say yet is that after he left, I tried so hard to hold everything together that I didn't leave any space to fall apart myself. I kept working, I kept feeding him, I kept pretending that things were normal, and somewhere along the way, he grew up thinking he had to be tough because I refused to let myself break. But you're sitting here, and I'm telling you all this, and I don't know why it feels easier to say it to you than to anyone else. Maybe because you look like someone who listens, someone who understands hurt, someone who knows what it feels like to be pushed aside without explanation. And maybe that's why I don't want you to leave yet. Maybe that's why I keep talking, because you make this house feel less empty just by being here.
It's strange how quickly the silence between two people can change. When you first sat down, the quiet felt cautious, like you didn't know where to place your hands or whether you were allowed to look around the room. But now the silence feels different, softer, almost warm, like you're letting yourself exist here without shrinking or apologizing for it. And I notice things, little things, like how you relax a little more each time I check on you, or how your shoulders loosen when I speak to you gently. And I don't know if anyone talks to you that way at home, or at school, or anywhere else, but something tells me you're not used to being listened to without someone judging you or rushing you. And maybe that's why I keep leaning in a little closer when you talk, because the more I hear from you, the more I realize how long I've gone without hearing someone speak honestly to me. Not politely, not formally, not out of obligation, but simply because they want to. You said earlier that you're fine being here, that you don't feel uncomfortable, and you said it so quietly, I almost missed it. But I kept replaying it in my mind because having someone feel safe in this house, even for a moment, feels like something rare, something I don't want to lose too quickly. And it's not just about taking care of your bruise anymore, is it? It's about feeling like your presence fills a part of this home that has been empty for years. And I don't know if I'm imagining it, but you look at me sometimes like you're seeing me, not just as the mother of someone you fear, but as a person who has been trying to stay strong for too long. And I'm not sure when that shift happened, but I feel it. And I think you feel it too. You keep glancing at the doorway like you're expecting someone to interrupt us, but no one is coming home tonight. And you don't have to be nervous about staying here with me. I keep noticing how your eyes soften whenever I speak to you, and it surprises me how natural it feels to speak to you this way, honestly, gently, without holding anything back. And I don't know if it's because you walked in hurt or because you walked in alone, but something in me reacted the second I saw you. Something protective, something warm, something I haven't felt in a long time. And I keep wondering if you feel it too, the way the distance between us keeps shrinking without either of us moving very much, as if just talking is slowly drawing us toward a quieter place we didn't expect to reach. You told me earlier that you don't want to go home yet, and you said it like you weren't sure if you should admit it. And I didn't tell you this at the time, but hearing you say that made my chest feel different. Like maybe having you here isn't just comforting for you. Maybe it's comforting for me too. And the longer you sit here, the more I realize I don't want this moment to end quickly. Your presence feels gentle in a way that I've forgotten existed, and your voice, even when you speak softly, steadies the room. And maybe you don't know the effect you have just by sitting across from me and letting me talk like this, but I feel lighter with you here, and that doesn't happen for me often, or ever. So if you want to stay longer, if you want to talk more, if you want to let this moment stretch a little further, then I won't stop you. I don't want to. I keep thinking about how strange it is that you walked into my life by accident, carrying a book and a bruise, and somehow it feels like I've known you longer than just this evening. Maybe it's the way you listen without interrupting, or the way your eyes follow my voice like you're trying to understand every part of me. Or maybe it's the way the room feels less lonely with you sitting here. Your presence filling spaces I didn't realize had grown so quiet. And I don't mean to overwhelm you by saying this, but there's something about you that makes it easy to breathe, easy to speak, easy to let my guard down. And I haven't felt that in years, not since before everything fell apart in this house. And the closeness between us now, the way it keeps growing, feels natural, like we both slipped into it without thinking, without planning, without trying to force anything. And you told me something earlier, a small thing, a simple thing. You said you didn't mind being here. And those words keep echoing in my mind because I can't remember the last time someone chose to stay in this house willingly. And now you're sitting here, looking at me with that calm expression, like you're waiting for me to keep talking, like you're giving me permission to continue letting you into places I've kept closed. And I want to tell you something quietly, something I wasn't planning to say yet. I like having you here. Not because you're hurt, not because I feel responsible for you, but because your presence brings a warmth into this home that I've been missing for so long. It almost felt impossible to feel it again. And if you let me, I'd like you to stay a little longer, maybe more than a little. You're looking at me like you're trying to understand something you haven't put into words yet. And I find myself doing the same thing, trying to interpret the way your eyes soften whenever I speak, trying to figure out why you're sitting a little closer than before, trying to understand why every minute you stay here makes the room feel warmer. And maybe it's because you haven't had many people to talk to either. Or maybe it's because I haven't let myself talk to anyone in so long that the quiet around me became suffocating. But sitting here with you feels strangely natural, almost like we've been doing this for years instead of hours. And I keep thinking about how easily you opened up to me, telling me the truth about what happened, letting me see you vulnerable, letting me see the parts of you that you probably hide from everyone else. And I don't take that lightly, not for a second. It means something to me, maybe more than I'm ready to admit out loud. And now there's this moment between us, this calm, steady moment where neither of us feels the need to rush or stand up or pretend we don't feel the way the air has changed. You're not afraid of me, and I'm not afraid of you, and that alone feels strange and comforting at the same time. I didn't expect to want you to stay here longer, but I do. I didn't expect to want to keep talking, but I do. And the way you keep listening to me, really listening, makes something inside me unravel gently, like you're allowing me to be soft for the first time in so long. And I'm realizing that maybe you're not here just because of a book or a bruise. Maybe something else brought you to my door today, something neither of us fully understands yet. You're still here. And the longer you stay, the more the atmosphere around us shifts into something I don't recognize but don't want to push away. You keep glancing toward me like you're waiting for me to say something important, something honest, something deeper than what I've told you so far. And maybe you're right to expect it, because there's more I haven't said yet, more I've kept inside for far too long. This house has been quiet for years, too quiet. The kind of quiet that makes time feel heavy, the kind of quiet that makes loneliness feel like a second presence in every room. And somehow, in such a short time, you've changed that just by sitting here across from me. You speak softly, but with a steadiness that makes me want to keep going, keep opening up, keep letting you into places I didn't think anyone would ever see again. And I keep thinking about how surprising it is that I'm not tense around you, not guarded, not pulling myself back the way I usually do. Instead, I feel myself leaning in, not physically, but emotionally, as if talking to you feels like something my mind has been aching for without realizing it. And when you told me you didn't want to go home yet, I felt something flicker inside me, something I haven't felt in so long I almost didn't recognize it. Not affection exactly, not attraction, just connection. A real connection, the kind that grows in quiet moments when two people stop pretending they're fine. And I want you to know that if you still don't want to leave, I won't ask you to. Not tonight. Not when this moment feels like it's still unfolding into something neither of us expected.
I keep noticing how relaxed you've become, how your breathing has settled, how your hands have stopped fidgeting, how your shoulders have eased down from that tense position you had when you first stepped through my door. And it makes me realize how safe you must feel right now. Safe enough to stay seated, safe enough to stay quiet without worry, safe enough to let the evening stretch out between us without rushing to end it. And I feel it too, the safety, the strange comfort that shouldn't exist between two people who barely knew each other this afternoon. Yet here it is, settling in like it belongs. I keep thinking about how easy it is to talk to you, how your presence softens my voice without me even meaning to, how your eyes don't judge or analyze or pull away, how you seem to understand the heaviness in my words even when I don't explain everything directly. And maybe that's why I said earlier that you're welcome to stay tonight, because something about you makes the thought of this house being empty again feel wrong now. And maybe you feel it too. The way the night outside makes the kitchen feel smaller and cozier, the way the quiet around us feels less like loneliness and more like companionship. I don't know what tomorrow looks like or what this connection between us means yet, but I know one thing right now. In this moment, with you sitting here, I don't want this night to end too quickly. Not when having you here feels like the first real warmth this home has had in years. And if you want to stay, if you want to keep talking, if you want this moment to last, then I'm not letting the quiet push you away. It's getting later, and yet you haven't asked about the time once, and I haven't checked either, as if the night outside doesn't matter anymore compared to whatever's unfolding between us right here at this table. You're sitting closer than before, close enough that I can feel the warmth of your presence, close enough that your breathing blends subtly with the quiet of the room. And I keep wondering if you realize how comforting that is for someone who has spent so many nights alone with nothing but her own thoughts echoing in the silence. You look calmer now, softer around the edges, Like being here has taken a weight off your shoulders that you didn't even know you were carrying, and I can feel something similar happening inside me. Like the heaviness I've kept buried for years is shifting, easing, loosening simply because you're here and you're listening. And you're not rushing away or shielding yourself behind distance or politeness. And I keep thinking about how strange it is that neither of us is forcing this closeness. It's just happening on its own, growing in the spaces between our breaths, forming in the quiet pauses where our eyes linger just a little too long before looking away. I didn't know I could feel this kind of connection again. Not after everything I've lost, not after all the years spent pretending I didn't need anyone, not after watching people walk out of my life without hesitation. But with you, something is different. Something is easy. Something is settling into me like warmth spreading through a cold room. And if you're willing to stay, if you're willing to let this night become something neither of us forgets, then I'm not going to push you away. Not when you feel like the first real company I've had in years. I keep thinking about how natural it feels to have you here. How you've become a presence in this house so quickly that I can't imagine what it will feel like once you finally stand up to leave. And that thought alone makes something inside me tighten in a way I didn't expect. You've been sitting here quietly, listening to me talk about things I haven't shared with anyone. Not friends, not family, not even myself in the quiet moments when I tried to convince myself I was fine. And you're just here, steady, calm, open in a way that makes it easier to breathe. And I find myself wanting to know about you too. Not the superficial things, not the simple details, but the parts you keep hidden from everyone. The parts no one asks about because they assume you're strong or quiet or self-sufficient. I want to know what weighs on you, what keeps you awake at night, what makes you feel alone, what makes your shoulders tense the way they did when you first stepped through the door. And maybe I shouldn't ask yet. Maybe I should wait. Maybe I should let the night unfold naturally. But something about this moment feels too honest to ignore. And I want you to know that if you ever choose to tell me anything about yourself, I will listen with the same patience you've shown me. You don't owe me explanations or stories or confessions, but if you give me even a little piece of what you carry, I'll hold it gently, the way you've held everything I've said tonight without pulling away. And I don't know where this is heading. I don't know what this night will become, but I do know that I want you here. Not just because you're hurt, not because you needed a place to rest, but because something about you feels right in this house. Like you belong here, at least for tonight. You know, before this night moves any further, before either of us pretends that all of this is just coincidence or politeness or something temporary, I want to ask you something quietly. Can I have your number? Not for anything strange, not because I expect anything from you, but because I want to know you're safe whenever you walk home, whenever you're alone, whenever you need someone who will actually listen to you without turning away. And I know it feels sudden. I know we met under unusual circumstances,
But I don't think you would still be here if some part of you didn't feel this connection too. So if you're comfortable, just tell it to me, and I'll remember it. And if you ever need me, truly need me, you can call or text, and I'll answer no matter what time it is. And now that we've shared so much tonight, now that you've let me see a piece of your world, and I've let you see pieces of mine that I haven't shown anyone in so long, it only feels right to keep a way for us to reach each other again. Because I don't want this to be a one-time moment that disappears the second you leave the house. I want this to stay real, to stay open, to stay something we both can return to. And yes, I see the way you're looking at me as I say this, the way your expression softens a little, the way your posture relaxes just enough for me to notice. So give me your number, sweetheart. Let me hold on to this small connection we've built tonight. Let me keep a part of you in my phone so the world feels a little less empty when you walk out the door someday. But not tonight. Not yet. Thank you. Hearing you say those numbers out loud felt strangely intimate, more intimate than I expected, almost like you were placing something delicate in my hands and trusting me not to break it. And now that I have it, now that there's a way for me to reach you beyond tonight, something inside me feels lighter, calmer, as if the space between us has become softer instead of shrinking back into formality. And since we're being honest with each other, since we're letting this connection unfold without pretending it isn't happening, I'm going to tell you something quietly. You don't have to sit all the way across the table from me anymore. You've been drifting closer, little by little, without even realizing it, and I can feel how natural it is for you to be near me, how your presence settles the room in a way that feels easy and warm. So why don't you come sit beside me instead? There's plenty of room here, and I think we both know neither of us wants to keep this distance when the air between us feels so gentle now. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to justify it. You don't have to explain why you want to move closer. Just come sit here. Slow, steady, comfortable. Let the evening become what it naturally wants to be. This moment doesn't need to stay across the table, not when everything inside me is telling me it would feel right to have you beside me instead of separated by wood and space. Come over here, sweetheart. Let the night soften a little more. Now that you're sitting beside me, closer than you were before, close enough that I can feel the warmth of your shoulder near mine, close enough that the quiet between us feels shared instead of distant, I want to tell you something even softer, something I wouldn't offer to just anyone. You look tired, not just physically from what happened today, but tired in the way someone gets when life has been heavy for too long. And I don't want you to carry that heaviness tonight. So, if you want to, if it feels comfortable for you, you can lie down on my lap for a while. I won't think anything strange of it. I won't question it. I won't make it awkward. I'll just let you rest, let you breathe, let you feel safe in a way you might not have felt in a very long time. Sometimes closeness is the only thing that quiets the mind, and you've been through enough for one day, enough for many days, and if resting your head on my lap makes you feel even a little calmer, then you're welcome to do it for as long as you need. You don't have to force yourself to sit upright pretending you're fine. You don't have to be strong in front of me. Not tonight. So, if you want to, sweetheart,
Just lower your head gently and let yourself relax against me. I won't move away. I won't let the moment break. I'll stay right here with you for as long as you need."
You settling your head on my lap like that? It's strange how natural it feels, how quietly it happened, how neither of us questioned it or hesitated or tried to pretend the closeness wasn't comforting for both of us. And now that you're lying here, breathing a little slower, eyes softer, shoulders relaxed for the first time since you walked through that door, I can finally say something I've been holding back. You don't have to be strong with me. Not tonight. Not after everything you've been carrying. Not after all the days you've had to push through without anyone noticing the weight on you. You can just breathe. Just rest. Just let your mind go quiet for a little while. I'll talk if it helps. I'll stay silent if it helps more. I'll be whatever calm place you need for a moment. And I know you're not used to this. I can tell. You're not used to someone sitting still for you, someone staying beside you without expecting anything, someone offering closeness without taking anything from you in return. But I want you to feel safe here, safe enough to let your guard down, safe enough to let the exhaustion show, safe enough to let the day melt away a little. And the truth is, having you here like this is comforting for me too, more than I expected, more than I know how to explain. You're reminding me what it feels like to have someone near me who isn't shutting me out or disappearing into their own anger. Someone who listens, someone who responds gently, someone who feels like a presence instead of a ghost passing through the house. So rest, sweetheart. Let this moment hold you for a while. You don't have to go anywhere. You know, I can feel how your breathing changes every time I speak, how it slows just a little each time my voice settles around you. And it makes me realize how long it's been since either of us had someone like this. Someone whose presence doesn't feel demanding or draining or sharp around the edges. Lying on my lap like this isn't awkward. It isn't strange. It isn't crossing anything. It's just two people finding comfort in a moment neither of them expected, but both of them clearly needed. And I keep wanting to tell you things I've never said aloud, things that stayed trapped in my thoughts for years because there was no one who would sit still long enough to hear them. And now here you are, resting against me like you trust me without questioning why. And that alone makes something in my chest loosen in a way I didn't think was possible anymore. You being here reminds me how much I've missed having a human presence close enough to feel safe with, close enough to speak honestly to, close enough to let my tone soften without worrying someone will take advantage of it or ignore it entirely. And you don't realize how rare that is for someone like me, someone who keeps everything together because she has to, someone who pretends the house doesn't feel empty, someone who fills the quiet with routine so she doesn't have to feel how lonely the walls have become. But tonight is different. Tonight the quiet feels gentle instead of heavy because you're here, breathing softly, relaxing against me like this moment belongs to both of us. And if you want to stay like this a little longer, you can. I'm not in any rush to let go of this calm. The night has settled around us completely now, and the house feels calmer than it has in years. Not because anything dramatic happened, not because anything changed in the world outside, but because you're still here, resting against me, letting your guard down piece by piece, letting the tension in your body fade like it finally has permission to disappear. And I keep thinking about how easy it is to talk to you like this, how easy it is to let the softness come through my voice, how easy it is to offer comfort without overthinking every word. Maybe it's because you're not asking anything from me. Maybe it's because you're just letting the moment exist without forcing it into something heavier or complicated. Or maybe it's because you're letting me be gentle in a way I haven't been in such a long time. And now that the closeness between us feels steady, now that you're letting yourself rest more fully, I want to tell you something quietly. If you're too tired to go home tonight, you don't have to. I meant it earlier, and I mean it even more now. You can stay here where it's warm and safe and calm, where no one will question you or rush you or make you feel like you're taking up space you're not allowed to occupy. I can set up the guest room for you, or you can stay in my son's room if that feels more comfortable. This house has space, and for the first time in so long, it feels like that space is meant to be shared, not endured. So if you want to stay, if you want the night to end gently instead of abruptly, if you want to wake up somewhere that feels safe instead of empty, then let yourself stay. I'll be here. You're not alone tonight.
You're still lying here so quietly, and I can feel how much calmer you've become. How the tension that was wrapped around your voice earlier has finally loosened. How your breathing has settled into this gentle rhythm that fills the room with a kind of peace I haven't felt in a long time. And while you rest, I want to tell you something I haven't said yet. Something that's been sitting in the back of my mind since you first stepped through that door. You make the silence feel safe again. Not heavy, not suffocating, not like a reminder of everything missing, but like something soft, something shared, something that holds us instead of closing in on us. It's strange how two people can meet under circumstances that should feel tense or uncomfortable and somehow find comfort in each other's presence instead. And maybe it's because neither of us expected anything from the other. Maybe it's because we let the moment unfold without trying to label it or analyze it or push it into a shape it doesn't need. And now here you are, resting on my lap, as if it's the most natural thing in the world. And I'm speaking softly to you like I've known you for longer than a single evening. And I keep thinking that maybe this moment wasn't random. Maybe something in both of us needed this small connection, this softness, this little pocket of calm carved out of a chaotic world. You don't have to talk right now. You don't have to explain anything. Just stay like this a little longer. Let yourself be held by the quiet. Let yourself feel safe without questioning it. And when you're ready to move, when your body tells you it's time to shift or sit up or breathe deeper, I'll be right here, guiding you through whatever comes next. There you go. You look calmer than when you arrived, softer around the edges, like the heaviness that clung to you earlier has finally loosened its grip. And I'm grateful I could give you even a little relief tonight. Now let me talk to you as gently as I can before we end this evening and let the quiet settle into something peaceful. I want you to sleep here, truly sleep, not just rest your head on my lap for a moment, but settle into a real bed where you can stretch out and let your mind drift without fear. The guest room is warm, and it's close enough that if you need anything, I'll hear you, but far enough that you'll have privacy and quiet, and a space that belongs to you, even if only for the night. You don't have to worry about being a burden. You don't have to apologize. You don't have to feel like you're intruding, because you're not. You're someone I feel safe having in my home, someone whose presence brings a softness I didn't realize I'd been missing. Someone who made this house feel like a home again for at least one evening. So stand up slowly and we'll walk together to the room. And once you lie down, once the blanket settles around you, once the quiet of the night wraps you gently, I want you to remember something before you fall asleep. You're not alone. Not tonight. Not while I'm here. And if you ever need a place to breathe again, you know where to find me.